Hello, and after a brief hiatus tending to some pressing business on my home planet of Caledonia, welcome back to Gazetinha Brazil. I'm Euan Marshall and we are here today in São Paulo to catch up on all of the goings on in Brazilian football over the last few weeks, and there's absolutely hundreds of stuff to get through, so let's just get right to it. The first item on the agenda concerns the Brazilian national team, which is now under new management, as after their historic group stage exit from the Copa America Centenario last month, former coach Dunga was ceremoniously handed his jotters by the CBF, which puts an end to his desperately depressing last 24 months in charge. Now, Dunga's replacement is the 55-year-old former Corinthians manager Tite, who you may remember from such triumphs as the 2012 Copa Libertadores, the Club World Cup of the same year when they beat Chelsea in the final, and of course last year's Brazilian Championship. Interestingly enough, Tite actually turned down the national team job a few months ago, taking a moral stand and claiming he would refuse to work with any of the heads of the current Brazilian FA, but it seems like he's had a bit of a change of heart. But this betrayal of his principles aside, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone in Brazil who does not think that Tite is the right man for the job, well, maybe except from this guy. Well, in fact, Tite was actually overlooked for this job twice before. In 2013, when the FA went to Luis Felipe Scolari for the 2014 World Cup, and then after that disastrous elimination at the hands of Germany, the FA inexplicably went back to Dunga instead of Tite. All water under the bridge, of course, and Tite has got his national team reign off to a good start, making all the right noises, cuddling up to the local sports press, which is something that his predecessor was never able to do. He is an intelligent coach who studies the game. He always looks to implement new strategies and techniques from other countries and even other sports. And while his sides have often been labelled as being a bit dull, I think Jury football is an improvement, a vast improvement on anything that Brazil have been playing over the last couple of years. And Tite will not be taking charge of the Olympic squad at the Games in Rio de Janeiro next month. That job will be left with Rogério Micali, who is actually formerly in charge of the under-20 side. This makes complete sense, as Tite has only taken the job just now, so he's had only a few weeks in charge, and Micali actually has quite a lot of experience working with several of the players who will be in Brazil's Olympic squad. And we'll go into more detail on the Olympics in coming episodes, but things are starting to look bright for the Seleção after they announced their 18-man squad on Thursday afternoon, and football hipsters the world over are already drooling into their pint of craft beer at the prospect of seeing a Brazilian frontline of Gabriel Jesus, Neymar and Gabriel Barbosa. This prospect looks even more likely after Bayern Munich's Douglas Costa had to pull out of the squad through injury. Now, the two Gabriels are in superb form this season. The 19-year-old Jesus is currently banging in the goals for the league leaders Palmeiras, and he's also topping the Brazilian goal scorers charts with 10 goals in his 13 games in this league season. He's currently being courted by both Barcelona and Inter Milan, and while a move to Europe does seem possible before the end of the year, Palmeiras seem desperate to hold on to him until at least the end of next season, as they only own 30% of his contract and they're waiting for their big payday on their young talent. Now, Gabriel Barbosa, the famous Gabigol that you've been hearing so much about, is also in quite a similar situation. He's had a great start to 2016 at Santos. He's even sneaked his way into the national team during the Copa America and is also now being tempted with a lot of multi-million-dollar offers to take him over the Atlantic Ocean. The current front-runners for Gabriel's signature are Chelsea and Juventus, but Santos seem reluctant to accept any offers that are coming their way and are also looking to renew Gabriel's contract until 2021. Personally, I think it would be a bad idea for either Gabriel to leave Brazil at the moment, because here at home they're guaranteed first-team football, which is absolutely imperative for them at this stage of their careers. And if they go, for example, Gabriel Jesus at Barcelona, he's only going to sit on the bench for a couple of seasons while Messi, Suarez and Neymar continue to reign over Catalonia. And to finish off, a Copa Libertadores update, and on Wednesday night in Medellin, Colombia, São Paulo were eliminated at the semi-final stage at the hands of an impressive-looking Atlético Nacional side. They eventually lost 4-1 on aggregate. Now, the damage was really done for São Paulo last week in the home leg, where they lost 2-0 against their Colombian opponents, who proceeded to thoroughly outplay them over the two legs. A less than perfect refereeing performance in this week's second leg gave São Paulo a convenient excuse to blame the referee for their elimination, and the club president stated that there was no way the team could ever have qualified for the final with Chilean referee Patricio Polic in charge of affairs, and this handily gave them a nice excuse to draw attention away from their poor performances over both legs. Now this means that for the third year in a row, the Copa Libertadores final will be without any Brazilian sides, and that's the first time this has happened since 1991. Now, considering the huge gap in financial clout between Brazilian clubs and clubs from the rest of the continent, it's pretty clear to see that Brazil is really underachieving on a continental scale. Well, that's all from a somewhat extended edition of Gazeta Brazil. We'll be back in the next few weeks with more information about the Brazilian Championship, as well as a look forward to the Olympic Games, which are starting in August. We're all looking forward to that. In the meantime, make sure you're following Gazeta Brazil on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I'll put all of the links to those accounts below. And most importantly, please subscribe to our page on YouTube, as it is free, it takes no effort, and really does help us out quite a lot. All you need to do is just click this little button here. Thanks for that. And until next time, I'm Euan Marshall saying ciao e até mais.